welcome back to College Football Corner. Kevin Walsh alongside Jersey Joe Archino, as always. Some breaking news for college football. Seth Russell, the Baylor Bears quarterback leading the nation in total touchdowns, is now going to be out for the season with an injury. What does this mean for the Bears?
Well, look, I talked to a lot of experts in the business before the season started, and a lot of them said they didn't think Seth Russell or Baylor would skip a beat this season, and clearly that was the case. It's a very big loss for them. I think at the end of the day, in college football, not all wins are created equal. Baylor's going to have a very difficult time finishing off the season. The playoff committee will have their rankings out before we know it, and clearly I think they're going to have to take that into consideration because they are getting into the tougher part of their schedule. Without Seth Russell, I mean, they're starting a true freshman now. Very difficult to see them going and finishing the season undefeated.
Well, Baylor currently sitting at 2, and the team that's right behind them, Clemson, a huge victory over the U. What did you see from Clemson this weekend?
Well, look, not one of the brightest moments in show history when I said I thought we would get a statement performance from Miami. It was a statement, not the statement I thought that they would make, but the 58-0 trouncing, I think you really just saw it there. Clemson is a team that I wasn't all in on, but you know what? You look at what they've done. Deshaun Watson, the confidence that he's playing with, the way that he's reading the flow of the game, the defensive side. Clemson has so many playmakers. They are the real deal. In Miami, look, at the end of the day, they were just not going in the right direction. I thought Al Golden did some good things there. He got off to a good start. But in college football, it's about how you finish. You have to be building momentum. Miami had no momentum. It was time for him to go, and unfortunately, things just didn't end well for him.
Now, moving to the team that sits atop of both Baylor and Clemson, The Ohio State University, maybe have finally answered their question of who will be playing quarterback for them. J.T. Barrett getting the start and performed very well in this game. What did you see from the QB?
Look, I've always been pretty adamant. I mean, you go back to the first show that we did for the college football season, and I thought, look, you can never question Urban Meyer. He's earned that right. But I always thought that J.T. Barrett read the flow of the game better than Cardale Jones did. His play style fits a little bit better of what Ohio State wants to do. And clearly that was the case. The way that he flawlessly runs this offense, the way that he just understands the flow of the game, when to use his legs, when to throw the football, I think he gives you everything that you want, and clearly as he gets more and more starts, he'll be more fluid in this offensive system. With J.T. Barrett at the starting helm for Ohio State, they are the best team in college football, and they will stay the best team in college football.
Now, a team that wants to be the best team in college football, normally accustomed to being so, is Alabama. Now, they had a really close game with Tennessee. Now, does this maybe say Alabama isn't as good as we've been giving them the credit for, or is Tennessee just much better than what we realized?
It's a little bit of both. Tennessee is one of those sides. Butch Jones, year after year, his program's getting better and better. Joshua Dobbs, that was one of his better performances. He's getting better and better. Tennessee is certainly on the rise, and that was evident by this performance against Alabama. Alabama is one of those teams where, look, they have to play one way to beat you, but that way they beat you is very difficult to stop. I've said it a million times. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but their formula is this. Conservative quarterback is elevated by the running game in the stout defense. That's how Alabama wins. If Alabama gets into a game this year where they're going to have to put up a lot of points, that's when they're going to get into trouble. That's what happened against Ole Miss. If they get into shootouts, they just can't win that way. Jay Coker is not built to win that way. They are built to play one way, and if they play that way, they're going to win.
Now, we are deep into the college football season, and for the first time here, we're going to look at the rankings. The top 5 rankings have come out. Ohio State, Baylor, Clemson, LSU, and then TCU rounding it out. Your thoughts on the top 5 as of right now? Are those teams correctly positioned?
You know, I think for the most part, I don't have too much trouble with it. I have my rankings different. I'm sure the committee, when they come out with theirs, will be a little bit different as well. I have Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, then I have Baylor and TCU. My reasoning for it is, look, I think you look at the brand of football in the SEC, and it's just different than everybody else, so that's why I have LSU at 2. I think at 3, Clemson elevating themselves with that 58-0 trouncing. They've shown that they could be the real deal. Baylor has to drop, and they probably will soon be out of the top 5, only because Seth Russell, you can't move on without him. You're getting into the harder part of your schedule. So much uncertainty with them. And then TCU, finally, they're a good team, but I don't put as much faith in Big 12 teams. No championship game means something to me. The rest of the teams in the top will play those championship games. That's a big difference maker.
For me, I think that as of right now, they have it right for the most part. I think that 5 needs to swap with 6. I think Michigan State deserves that position over TCU. Michigan State, have they impressed? No, but they're still unbeaten. They've beaten ranked teams, and Connor Cook is one of, with the Seth Russell injury, might be the best quarterback in the country. So I think for that, they deserve that 5th seed. But now we're going to close the show out. The game of the week, not a lot to be enamored with here on the slate, but Notre Dame versus Temple. Temple undefeated. Can they spoil the Irish's playoff hopes?
You know, that's one of the interesting things. Temple's been one of those stories this year where not a lot of people have paid a lot of attention to them, but they are a very organized, fun-to-watch football team. I mean, you talk about a team that really is doing the right things on both sides of the football. This is one of them, but there's a difference between Temple football and there's a difference between Notre Dame Fighting Irish football. And I think that case in point will be made in this game. There's just a big difference. I like what Temple is doing. Clearly, it's been a phenomenal year for them, one of the best in program history. But Notre Dame is just at a different level with everything that they have. Will Fuller, you look at Deshaun Kaiser, you look at the way they run the ball, the playmakers they have defensively. I think Notre Dame will get a win here pretty easily.
I have to agree. I think that Notre Dame is just the far superior team when you look at the two teams in this game. Notre Dame's only loss coming to 3rd-ranked Clemson, and it was a 2-point game, a game that the Irish were really in. And I think that the Irish do have a chance still to be in the playoffs when the season comes to a close. But in order to do that, they need to keep winning games. They need to beat Temple, and I think that they will. And that is all the time that we have here on College Football Corner. Jersey Joe Archino, Kevin Walsh. We'll see you guys next time. But at the end of the day,